What's up, everybody? Seth Miranda here. This is Adorama Rewind, and I'm going to keep it pretty short and concise this week about stuff that can help you out, especially if you have a small business, grants, loans, all sorts of things like that. Not to mention projects that are out there to keep you busy, not just challenges, but things that can actually go out into this world and kind of help the situation we're at. Starting with the UN asking for creatives to create engaging content. Check this out. So pretty much they're looking for people who can not only create content, but make it engaging and absorbable for the general public to grasp onto things like personal hygiene, physical distancing, social distancing, knowing the symptoms, which we know has been back and forth. There's been a lot of word of like, no, it's a dry cough, whatever. No, here they want you to like really state clearly what the symptoms are. Ways it's contagious, myth busting, which I think is major important to get rid of misinformation out there that people think they know the right thing, but are actually putting themselves in harm way, and ways to donate, which is super important for us to stay funding people out there, helping the front lines, the people that are fighting COVID, the people that need supplies, people that are feeding those that are hungry right now from being out of work, or kids that usually get fed at schools that need food now because they're not at school or a facility that feeds them. That's important. But not only that, but also this, which I found super important, was which hashtags to use so that it can actually spread around properly and contain to show people like this is where the proper information is. You can just go to these hashtags and you'll find it. Not to mention the formats, which is basically the guidelines of what they're looking for and how to put it out there, how long they should be, what type of file types, all that stuff, and the stuff you shouldn't do, like using UN logos and other stuff like that, so that it's actually something they can use. Even if it's great information, people need to be able to put it out there under the guidelines so that they can actually be the ones relaying the information. And hopefully it actually sinks in and people stay safer. The more information that's proper to keep themselves safe, keep others safe, and proper procedures during an unprecedented time like this, I think is crazy, crazy important. On top of that, I wanted to pull up PPA, the Professional Photographers of America. So let's check this out. They actually are taking in all the webinars and from the government and the loans and the grants and all the other things that you can get monetarily to help you get through this as a small business, not just as a photographer. So maybe there's other people out there watching this that could use some help. Check this out. Go over to ppa.com/in it together, and you can see that they give you the webinars, but they also boil it down so that if you can't sit through them or aren't absorbing it correctly, they're kind of relaying the information, government assistance, and they're constantly updating this. They're letting you know when applications are open, and some photography education if you want to stay busy and learn a little bit more about actually shooting and things like that, or how to run a business. But right now they're really focusing on the aid that people need right now to keep their businesses infused with cash while they're not making any, especially people like wedding photographers whose events have been canceled overnight and the rest of their year is being shifted around, rescheduled. Venues are going all over the place. It's an enormous industry, the wedding world, and it's crazy how much it affected photographers because if those weddings don't happen, they're not working. And if a photographer schedules one every weekend, that's their consistent income, right? So especially wedding season itself is like right now with spring and all that stuff. It's crazy, but we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this, and there's plenty of people out there that are doing everything they can to make sure this industry keeps going forward, even though we're on a down note right now. But hang tight. There's even another one I found here. Format is supporting photographers with a $25,000 fund. It's not that much money. I mean, you can apply for it and you get up to $500, which, believe it or not, could actually help some people out there. If you're someone that's sharing a studio with a few people and your part of the rent is like $500, this will help you pay the rent and hold that studio down until you can get back in there and get your career going again. So, or your business or whatever you want to call it. Don't sleep on stuff like this. Every little bit helps, and if all these companies are putting it together, I mean, Peak Design is going out there and on the release of their new tripod, the one that everyone's been talking about for months, they're giving away 100% of profits for the first 3 days of the initial launch, which is the peak time, no pun intended, when they'll make the most money from that tripod. So everyone's trying to pitch in, including Kodak. Kodak, this one's kind of special. Let's go over to this. Kodak, a New York company up here in Rochester, is donating tons and tons of isopropyl alcohol because they're basically a chemistry company creating photochemicals out there, and they have access to this, or stockpiles of it. They're donating tanker loads, they're saying right here, to create 100,000 gallons of state produced hand sanitizer. There's Copa right there holding it. So they're going to try to distribute this everywhere they can to keep people clean, hygiene up. Not to mention there was a shortage of this stuff around here. And with New Yorkers on top of each other, we need this around the subways, schools, things like that. When things do get back to normal, we can stay on top of keeping this virus off the hands that are constantly touching our faces, right? But good on Kodak for doing that. I think that's pretty special. And we kind of forget what resources all these companies have, right? Who would have thought that we would have had alcohol to distribute to create hand sanitizer? Kodak, nice job. Not to mention Sony. I got to give a hand to Sony. They put together, I'm sorry, I keep looking over here. I'm at home looking at like 4 monitors here. Sony establishes a $100 million COVID relief fund. This is pretty interesting. What a huge amount of money, first of all. But they're going to do this for a couple, like 3 different ways. Right here, through this fund, Sony will provide support in 3 areas: assistance for those individuals engaged in frontline medical and first responder efforts to fight the virus. Actually, we here at Adorama just did something last night to raise money for that. I'll get into it later. But Sony, with the $100 million relief fund, will also support for children and educators who now must work remotely, and support for members of the creative community in the entertainment industry because it's been greatly impacted. Yeah, of course. And Sony has a lot of means like this. $100 million is a staggering amount of money, obviously, but we need that type of help to get through this. And Sony themselves needs this help. Think about it. The Sony Entertainment, they got to get that movie industry back up and running, getting people back into theaters to buy those movie tickets so that the industry can keep going, right? The entertainment industry is enormous. The actors, the DPs, the art directors, those grips, those PAs, everybody that's on set, they're all people that need their jobs right now, and they're not going to be working during this. So Sony saw this and was like, we have to do something. Not to mention, they have to get their factories together, keep on making components so we can put together the cameras, all sorts of stuff. Yes, it does benefit Sony, but this is for the bigger whole of the entire world, right? And that's why I think all these companies need to really take a look at what can they do and what can they give forward to help get us through these times. Let's talk about another company, Nikon, right? So Nikon has put out all their education for free for the month of April. It's like $250 usually. They're basically saying, come here, come to our website with your email address. Let me just go over to it. Just drop your email address here and you can have all these classes for free. I mean, we're talking speed lights with Joe McNally. Come on, for free. So you're just hanging out and you want to keep yourself busy and maybe feed your brain a little bit. This is a good way to do it, absolutely free. And yeah, you give your email, but don't worry about that. You can always unsubscribe from a list if you don't want it. So take advantage of that. Another company that's trying to help people out there, Fujifilm. Yeah, so Fuji is creating this new thing. It's called like Students for Storytelling. So you basically apply, let me go over to it. You basically apply, tell them what you're trying to put out there as far as your ideas. And once you submit it, they'll go through a review process. If you're selected, you can select up to $3,000 right here, $3,000 of Fujifilm gear to use and keep for the project. Then once that happens, they will keep in touch with you, help you get through the project, and actually post it on their forum that they're trying to create right now so that people can see the work that you're creating, which is pretty cool, right? Students can make $3,000 in gear stretch pretty far, definitely. And what's the harm in applying, right? Just you have concepts, you have things burning in your soul you want to put out there creatively. Fujifilm's trying to find you, on top of the UN also. All right, I'm gonna also jump into this one, which I guess is a little semi-self-promotion a little bit. WPPI just passed in February. We've lost a lot of trade shows this year, or they're trying to reschedule them. WPPI was the last one I was able to go to and teach at, but Vanessa Joy somehow got the world together and created a mini documentary on what it's like for us speakers, and it's pretty awesome. Let me go over to it. She put it on her channel, but it's on SLR Lounge right now with like a little bit about how it came to be. And if you go over to it, you can watch it. It's a short doc, like 17 minutes. Just hang out and check it out. I mean, me, Daniel, Vanessa Joy, Will Cadena, Gary Hughes, and many others are in this to let you know what it's like to go and put together a presentation for a trade show, get up there on stage, shoot in front of crowds, gear failing, scheduling, lugging gear all over the place, what it's like to actually try to convey an idea and information out there. It's pretty awesome. I would strongly recommend that, especially if you're trying to be an educator out there, to check out what this is. I don't think people realize what really goes into a trade show as a speaker, putting out demos and things like that. This is a pretty good insight to it, and it's really well done, really amazingly edited. It was a pretty good time, and there's some pretty funny parts in there as well. Don't sleep on that. Okay, so just so you're aware, let me just adjust a little bit. I feel like I've sat in this chair for like a month, which I kind of have, right? I've been doing this from home and going live nonstop on Adorama and my own channels. But Adorama's Facebook page, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every weekday. I'm going live with somebody else and we're doing coffee with creators. We just did the Adorama host roster. I mean, look at this. Look at this batch of misfits just talking it out. We rarely have everybody together. Keith Alexander, our audio guy, David Bergman, Vanessa Joy, Gavin Hoey, Mark Wallace, Daniel Norton, all talking about what we're going through, what the channel was about, what it's like being on the Adorama roster, and just being a photographer in general and keeping creative. Not to mention, there were other great guests this past week, like the one and only Joe McNally. I got to hang out with Joe and talk a little bit of shop with him, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I love Joe, and he's so insightful and so sincere and a legit legend and professional. I highly recommend you check that episode out. I also talked to Spooky, who is one of the OGs, the originators of streaming video games. So he was around before Twitch. Now he's one of the top 100 channels on Twitch. So if you're somebody that's interested in that world, especially since Adorama started a Twitch channel, and some of you are part of it, I know you are, I've seen you in the comments, you might want to check out that one as well, all on Adorama's Facebook. And we new one every weekday, Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. I should have said it the other way. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry, I'm doing this at like 5 in the morning because I have to get everything else ready for today. So I'm like, but hey, at least I'm super grateful that I get to stay busy and doing this with you guys. It's definitely something that's helped me get through it personally. Okay, last night we had a huge Tekken tournament thanks to Spooky, and we actually raised a ton of money. So if you head over to Adorama XP, twitch.tv/Adorama XP, you can check out the Tekken tournament. It was about 6 hours long, but it was definitely a lot of fun. Some amazing matches went on. Really surprising way things went on a few of these bouts. The chat was on fire. Not to mention, we raised $1,254.87 for first responders fighting the COVID virus for us. So that's great. Thanks to Gigabyte, Seagate, and Razer for providing the prizes for all these amazing players. So they got to enter the tournament for free, possibly battle out to win a laptop as the first prize. The first 7 won something. And not to mention, we raised over $1,200 for people out there fighting the virus for us. So fighting game to fight the virus, I guess. I don't know. Either way, I thought it was pretty awesome. And I just want to thank everybody who piled in on the chat, all the new followers on Adorama's Twitch channel. We will be doing these again. They'll always be for charity. And I think it's just a really great community, and it's another community to tack onto the amazing community that Adorama is. And you people that watch Rewind, you totally know what this community is about. I see you guys talking to each other in the comments. I love when you guys respond to each other and have like a forum going on, not just comments about the video, but really have a discussion going. And I think that's how we get real insights out there, right? It's not just watching a video, absorbing it for what it is, and then writing a comment about what you thought, but rather seeing what other people thought and then comparing them and contrasting them to what your thoughts were, and maybe you both come out a little bit more enlightened. So think about that going forward when you see the comments on any of the videos. Maybe just reply and talk to somebody, okay? Oh, I almost forgot about the shot of the week. I know I forgot that last week. It's been hectic. Believe it or not, it's like more hectic now that I'm in like one place than when I'm all over this city. Check out my man, Brandon Stevens. I'm going to give you a shout out, buddy. Yeah, so I usually call him B Stevens because that's what he pops up in every chat and every comment. But he's been doing some pretty interesting stuff, really some clean lighting out there, a lot of portrait work. He's always submitting stuff into critique and seems to be doing a lot of various subject matter and staying busy out there. And I mean, come on, you got to give props to people that are staying busy and trying to elevate their game constantly. So check out my man's work over here. I'm going to put a link down below. And sorry about forgetting the Shadow of the Week last week. Listen, we're still doing Create No Matter What. So you guys out there, whenever you're doing out there, whatever you're shooting, recording, creating, compositing, I don't care. If you're putting it up there, hashtag Create No Matter What and hashtag Adorama so that we can find it. We will be releasing more and more challenge videos for you guys. Vanessa Joy just did hers, so you can get some eyeballs on it. This is Vanessa Joy's Create No Matter What video. So she's basically going over how to do multiple exposures, usually using old photos while shooting newer photos, and they overlay and you make some cool stuff. So she really goes into it. I think she really had a lot of fun with it. And let me show you, because I know I have some backstory on this. She was in a fog about this whole thing, and her just doing this video, the next few hours afterwards when I was talking to her, you could tell that she was in a better frame of mind and higher spirits. And I think that's what creatives are, right? We have to keep on doing what we do. Otherwise, that's where our soul really dies, right? So get out there, keep shooting, keep creating, hashtag create no matter what, and check out these videos. Don't forget to look at Vanessa Joy's multiple exposure video. I think you'll learn a few things about multiple exposures in the digital era that you kind of maybe not have thought about. Not to mention, we put out the new season of TTL. I know some of you guys love that, Through the Lens. Ted's Little Dream, which is a pretty cool one. This guy makes some really amazing pieces out there, right? Like you can actually see it's composites, stuff like that, but it's a clear vision and it's really beautifully done. And it's pretty cool. And especially if you're inside and you're just sitting there with Photoshop or whatever else at your fingertips, maybe this will inspire you to get going. Check this out. Really cool episode. I'll put the link down below, of course. And yeah, I just wanted to keep that there so you can go through what we're putting out there. You can still have plenty of content to watch, binge, and not only just absorb it, but react from it. You see Ted's Little Dream, maybe you shoot something and a few things and you put them together in Photoshop and see what you can do there. Don't stop, keep going forward. And listen, I wanna know down below, not just what you're doing to stay productive and creative and stuff like that, but I wanna know what you're doing to kind of help the person next to you, right? There's plenty of people out there that still can work, that are out there purposely supporting artists, buying prints, doing things like that to help their friends. Are you out there doing that kind of stuff? Let me know down below what you're doing, not just creative and productively, but what you're doing to help during this time. We all can do something, whether it's donating like $5 here or just checking up on our neighbor to see if they're okay, or calling somebody who's not used to being an introvert home all the time, trying to stay safe. Listen, it's tough out there, but we're all in this. We are all in this. And I hope some of these resources help you out there. I will see you guys next time. Join me, Facebook, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Adorama's page. I'll see you there. Later, guys. Peace.